us to do 2 pages.
2 questions.
Oh, well, I did 2 pages.
Yeah, I did 2 pages.
2 questions. See? Look, this one's done.
Hey, Zach, we don't like overachievers anymore.
Oh, so is this 2 questions?
I thought,
So you're ahead of the game. You're like with the next couple. Like you did a whole bunch of work yesterday,
Okay,
but now you're
lives
like.
with me but doesn't give me help. That's
I will
fine.
give you help.
That's fine.
All right, let's get started.
Please.
Okay, wait, can you come over
Amber,
and say
I'm
if I'm on the
sorry.
right track?
Can I just do them and then you'll know if you're on the right track?
This is only 4
What
years.
I wanna know.
No.
So
7.
like, we're working 10 hours, so I call
Hey,
him, but he doesn't.
listen, I'll beat your ass.
But then I did a
Say
song
it.
talking.
What? I wasn't even talking
I heard
to you.
that.
Yeah,
We'll do it. We'll do it.
okay.
I wasn't even talking
But
to
he
you.
told me to keep like my equations together instead of like separate. So like plugging the
Hey, not like my
Oh,
supply,
Amber,
and that's what's
Amber,
up.
Amber, Chris is a good guy.
So there's 2 ways to do it. And you just,
Chris.
I'm gonna show you both and you pick the one you want.
I mean, your way made a lot more sense.
So then,
Chris, the one that.
all right, here we go.
To go to the movies with him.
Let's do number 1 again. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write down the how-to steps
Did you tell him?
from Monday, so you don't have to write it down again. But just so we have something to look back at.
Who? You told me you had no friends.
All right, here we go. Lock it back up. We ready?
No.
Well, too bad. Be ready.
I'm ready.
Good. So there's our system. I'm gonna write it down. So I got everything up here. 6x minus 11 and negative 2x minus 3y equals negative 7. And if you remember from Monday, what we're hoping to have is at least a y equals or an x equals somewhere. Because if we do, then we can use it. Do we?
Yes.
Then let's use it. Okay? And the idea is we want to just create one equation that only has one kind of, what is it, variable in it. Right? But to do that, we substitute. And whenever we substitute, let's use brackets. Okay? Now, I'm going to take that y equals, whatever it was. Okay? And if I'm finding the point where these 2 things run into each other, this y and this y are going to be whatever that same number is. And I don't know what that is ahead of time. But what I can do is I can take that 6x minus 11 and I can drop it right there. So I'm going to rewrite that bottom equation. That's why that arrow is kind of pointing down to that one, because that tells me which one I'm supposed to rewrite. Negative 2x minus 3. And as soon as y is about to come out of my mouth, when I read this, that's when the parentheses happen. If you're plugging in for y, as soon as you would say y, that's when you say the parentheses, when you start the parentheses, and not a moment before that. Now I still have a equals negative 7. I need the whole equation. But this y is about 2. You guys good?
Yeah.
6x minus 11. Okay, so there's my system. Here's the equation I'm going to start with. Now remember, the answer what we're trying to find is the point where these meet. So I need both x and y eventually, but I can't solve for them both at the same time. I can just do them separately. But when we do that, right, when we get to this solving step, there's a couple things we have to watch out for before we go through that process of actually solving, right? We'll get to here, and we'll do our solving by undoing whatever's happening to x, but we got to watch out for a couple things first. Number 1. If you've got your x's or your y's, whatever you've got, on both sides of the equal sign, we gotta move them together. And usually what I do is I move them to the left side. Because I like to have x equals when I'm done. But look at the equal sign, there's my brick wall. Are all your x's already on the same side?
Yeah.
So we're good, you don't have to worry. Okay? The other thing we have to watch out for are those parentheses. Okay? Because I can't combine like terms until the parentheses are gone. So I gotta get rid of these. Yeah, nice, right? I've got a number attached in front. And even if it wasn't there, like if this was just minus whatever, it's like -1 times, right? I want to distribute. And distribution is really just multiplication, right? If you've got some parentheses, let's distribute first. Then we can put stuff together. So the sign in front of the number is the one we want to keep track of. So when I think about that 3 going in, it's really a -3 that I want to multiply, and to make sure that my signs are right. Now, I'm not touching the -2x here. I'm bringing that down. But the -3's got to get multiplied into both the 6x and the -11. Right? Negative times a positive is negative, and one of them had an x, so I got to bring the x down. But numbers with numbers, right?
And then positive.
A negative times a negative is positive. 3 times 11, 33, and that's still equal to that -7. Bring that down. Okay, cool. So we didn't have x on both sides. We're good there. We have our parentheses, so we distributed, and now they're gone. So now we can combine some like terms. So I just want to have one x in the problem when I'm done. So let's put them together.
-20x.
Right? When you are adding and subtracting with x's, don't change the x, just change the numbers in front. I started at -2. Remember, when you are adding and subtracting, you're just hanging on the number line. Okay, my watch is 0, so I start at -2. Addition goes right, subtraction goes left. So -18 more, I'm getting even more negative. Bring down the plus 33 because we didn't touch that. Bring down the equals, bring down the minus. Now we can solve. So because like this is like chapter 0, like day 2, right? 1x in the problem, let's just go get it. Start your work now, solve. You gotta start getting x by itself. The easiest way to do that is to start on the same side as x, with anything attached by addition or subtraction, and we'll just do the other. We'll do the opposite. So I have this plus 33. Let's undo that by doing the opposite. Whenever I do the left, I'll do the right. Those will cancel. I like to keep my equal signs lined up, so I'm just going to slide this -20x a little closer.
-40.
And then I'm going to combine those two straight down. Addition, subtraction, done. Now, the reason why this sign switch is because the opposite of addition is subtraction. Now we're up to multiplication and division. Okay, I have multiplication. I want to do division to undo that. But I don't change the sign of the number in front. I change the operation that was connecting that number. So I want to divide by the whole thing, not just the 20, but the -20. Those will cancel out. What do you think?
-2.
Negative divided by negative?
+2.
And I know what my answer's got to look like. I'm trying to get to here. I'm trying to get to that xy. Okay, so I need to solve for the other one. What can we do with that 2 to figure out what y goes?
Can't we use the x?
And it doesn't matter. You're right. We can pick either equation that we started with.
But the top one's just easier.
If I'm solving for y, let's pick a y equals equation rather than picking a -2x minus 3y equation, right? And so because we've got kind of 2 numbers that we're solving for, I usually do these problems in 2 columns. I solve for my first number, and I put a little squiggle, and I'm going to solve for my second. Especially on this page, because there's not a lot of up and down space. Now, don't feel like you have to squeeze your work onto this page. I know it's kind of nice to have a problem so you don't have to rewrite it. But if you feel like you can't fit it in, that's fine. So we're going to, again, substitute in our answer.
Oh, Rosie,
Yeah,
I have money for you, by the way.
nice. Good man. Into either original equation.
We need like $50.
So y equals x.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
I just put in 3.
Y equals 6x. And then parentheses and number 2.
All right. So I like to rewrite whatever equation I'm dropping it into to make sure that I don't screw it up. And whenever I substitute, I always use parentheses. So in goes.
Oh, it's -11. I did that wrong.
12 minus 11.
Oh.
And don't forget, this is the first thing I said on Monday, our answer has to be the point where they meet. Don't circle the y equals and don't circle the x equals. Those are 2 separate answers. I want them together. as one nice answer.
Did we do this in Algebra 1?
Absolutely.
We did.
I remember doing this.
With me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a couple years ago, but it's been a while, for sure. But I want to kind of master this skill, because when we get to chapter 2, you're going to see we're going to do like a line and a parabola. Try to figure it.
Third hour just does
I don't know what to talk about. I'm so mad at them. So there you go. That's the plan every time. Okay. Now, the only way that these questions can get harder, and the whole first page, y equals, except until you get to the bottom. Okay. Something like 7, 8, 9, 10. Do you see a y equals or an x equals equation? Then we better make one. But what I want to make sure you understand is what the easiest way to do that is. Okay, so we'll look at number 7. If I want to get to y
Oh,
equals,
didn't I put it in the sheet?
let's just do that one together. Let's do number 7. Okay, I'm going to come over here so you guys can see it. I'll bring the camera over to see.
Wait, what about number 2? How do we know if we're solving for y or x first? Like, you know how you
Should we do number 2 first?
Well, no, I just, because you
Yeah,
circled.
we should do number 2
Let's do
first.
We, like today's is practice day.
I just want to like refresh it.
For sure. I'll come back here. So, not in a hurry, she goes away. All right, number 2. Now this one should be really similar. Should be really similar to number 1 because we have the setup that we want, right? I've got a y equals or an x equals. This happens to be the bottom equation. Who cares what order they decide to put it in? So 2x minus 3y equals what? 1? Negative 1. And y equals x minus 1.
So 2x minus 3 parentheses.
Oh.
X minus 1.
Right? Look where the arrow's pointing up to the top one, right? Because that's the one it's going to go into. So that's the one I rewrite. 2x minus 3. Ooh, as soon as I would say y, that's when the substitution is going to happen. X minus 1. Right? Because that's what y is equal to. So we had what we needed. There's me creating the one equation with one variable. And I know there's a couple different x's. That's cool. Do we have x's on both sides? So we're good. I don't have to worry about the first one, but I do have parentheses. Good. Let's distribute. Draw the arrows or the arcs if you like it. I'm not going to touch the 2x. We only distribute exactly what's connected to the equal sign. So watch this. This isn't the same problem, I know, but bear with me for a second. If that 3 wasn't there, let's say it would look like that. Obviously, that's not the one we're doing, and we'll go back to the 3. Is the 2x directly connected to the parentheses? No, it's the negative, right? That's the only thing that we would actually, like, think of it like distributing in the negative. Negative x plus 1. That's the only thing that would change would be the signs, right?
You could just drop the.
The only time we can drop the parentheses is of the plus.
Okay.
Because adding doesn't change anything. Subtracting changes all your signs. And of course, having a number attached is going to make all of your numbers that much bigger. So for us, we're multiplying in that negative 3. So negative 3 times x.
Negative 3x. And then plus 3.
Negative 3 times negative 1. Take 2 negatives and you're multiplying or dividing together. Make it a positive. Bring down the equal sign, bring down the negative. Okay, second bullet. Distributed, good. Now I want to combine some like terms. Start at 2 and subtract 3.
Negative 1x.
Good. And because x is like 1x, but we choose this one because who needs the 1? When we say negative 1x, I don't need the 1, just the negative is good. Negative x plus 3 equals negative 1. Second bullet in step 2, done. Now we just solve. Addition and subtraction first.
Subtract 3.
Bring down what you haven't touched.
Negative 4.
if negative x equals negative 4,
Positive x equals 4.
and we're halfway there. Now we just happen to be solving for the x first. Doesn't matter which one you solve for first. It only matters the order that you write, right? X before y. But we want to figure out the y that goes with it. So do we have an equation that's already y equals? Well, I like to rewrite it to show whoever I'm reading that I'm going back to one of the original ones and I'm going to use it. All right, step 3, solve for that other variable by substituting in. So y equals, there it is. There's my substitution. So I'm going to play it safe and put parentheses around. But do we need them? That's okay. So really, it's just 4 minus 1.
Okay.
Cool. All right. What I'd like you to try is number 3. Now, and if you already did it, here's what I want to show you. Because if you're ahead of the game, now it's time to check to make sure you did it right. I don't know how many of you noticed, but this first page front and back, right, we have all the questions, right, 1 to 20. Look at the third page.
Nice.
Same questions and their answers.
Boom.
2, 1, 4, 3, you know we got it right.
That's a negative 4.
No way.
Yes.
Well,
And here's the thing. When it comes to like these kind of more complicated, not super complicated, but more involved algebraic processes, I don't mind giving you the answer so you know what to look for, so you know what you're doing right. Especially once we get a little bit down the road, we're going to solve systems that have 3 equations with 3 variables.
oh,
X, Y, and Z. And if you don't know what the answer is ahead of time and you make a mistake in step 1, and we have like 10 steps to do, it's going to be a mess. So I like giving you the answer. Okay. So now you know, pages 3 and 4 in this handout are the answers to pages 1 and 2. But if you want to get credit, obviously I'm giving you the answers. I just care about the algebra. Gosh, I care about the process. I care about, the journey, not the destination. Right, so take some time. You know what the answer is. There's got to be 1, 2. So hopefully you get it.
we do this rest of the class.
Just practice. I'm going to tell you which ones I want you to work on. I'll tell you what your homework is going to be tomorrow, and maybe we just knock those couple out. But I wanted to do one more with you after 3, like kind of like the hardest version of these kind of problems, and then I'll just kind of let you loose and let you just roll. If you're feeling good, you can just start the homework for tomorrow. Now maybe make your Thursday a little bit easier. But my plan for Friday is not to mandate a live kind of thing. But I want to do this thing for real. Like I want to give you, I don't know, like 2 or 3 problems on Friday that you're going to submit for correctness. Okay. So anticipate tomorrow being practice that you might just get done today. I'm okay with that. But Friday morning, you're going to see on the announcement, I'm going to post a link to a Google Doc where I make up like 3 problems. I'll put the answers, so you don't have to get them right. And you're going to take Friday, anytime before midnight, you're going to knock those 3 out by hand. Like I want to see you handwrite this stuff. I don't want to see you using Google Docs. Like I don't want to see you typing them in. So I send you a Google Doc. I don't want you to copy it and type in your work. I want to see this stuff handwritten. Okay. Just send that back to me before midnight. And I'd love to say elimination done. Substitution done. 1 week, 5 days of practice. Okay. make sure you're getting yourself to 1, 2 as a nice answer for number 3. If you can do that, you get it. Now I'm going to do one more with you. Move. We'll come back to the front here because we have the books. I need a less heavy way to get my camera lifted up a little higher. Is anybody in woodshop? Anybody take 4 rows of class? Because what I would love, box, open on either side, about 2.5 feet tall. The page could see through it instead of looking at it. But people always have to look around the side. Maybe I'll reach out to Warburg and see if he can get somebody on that for me.
I don't think I did.
Nice.
Where's the 4?
I feel like that would be easy.
Did you get like -1? Yeah. Yeah, but then you have to like, wait,
Yeah.
Let me see.
you have to keep going. You have to divide by 12.
So it's not, that's all, right? Because you have 12x. -48.
Oh, so that
There's
went
right, sorry. Yep.
Sorry.
So I think this
I heard
was
X.
Okay.
but I don't think it's
So you have negative, first of all, -5.
Oh,
And it's -17. So,
thanks.
Mr. Rosen.
yeah.
You help me find why.
Of course. And cool, so we got our 1, right? And we know that's right, because there's that point. So if I want to know the y that goes with that, and I've got these 2 equations at the top here, what we can do is we can solve for that other variable by going back to either of those original equations that they gave us, and just drop that 1 in. But down, the easiest one to do is if you're solving for y,
The Y
pick the y.
equals, yeah.
Should be like.
So number 5.
Yeah. And what's crazy about number 5 is they already gave us the y.
Yeah.
We know y is -2, so we're like halfway through this problem. Okay, whichever one you're working on right now, finish that one, and then I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because I want to do one of the tougher ones from the second half of page 1. That just takes a little bit more prep work to be able to get ourselves to that right answer. Cool. Come with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I can pull that.
Oh, it's on the next page.
Yeah, you also have it right there. Yeah, take a look at that. All right, so whichever one you're working on, finish that one up, chill for a second. And then I'm going to do one more with you.
I see it.
I'll tell you what your homework is for tomorrow. I'm going to call it homework 1.6b.
Oh, do we need to submit this?
Yeah. And so if you didn't finish that homework yesterday, but now you've got 1 and 2, submit it. Put it on Canvas so I can give you.
Is it a late grade?
No, you were confused.
Okay.
We worked through that. Now it's done. But what I would love, Amber, and this goes for everybody, if that happens, you get stuck, shoot me a message. And I don't care if it's at midnight.
You'll be up.
Rosie, I was up anyway. Rosie, I'm stuck. I can't finish 1 and 2 because I don't know how to solve for y. Or like Dallon's like, you know what? I didn't get the handout. I would love to hear from you yesterday. Because then I could send it to you and at least you've got something. You walk in the door, but if I send it to you late, that's on me, right? I'm flexible, but I want to hear about that stuff happening on your off days. So you're not walking in the door and surprising me with, I don't get it or I don't have it yet. Because then I can prepare for that. And then I can know I'm going to do 1 and 2 together. Or I know I need to make sure I have an extra copy for you, right? That kind of thing. So just keep me in the loop.
It's 1.6A, right?
This is 1.6a. Yep, 1 and 2 was homework 1.6.
What's the one that you wanted to do with us?
We're going to do number 7.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to do number 7. -4x plus y.
My submissions have been failing recently, so.
If that happens, email the photo to me instead.
Okay.
Just attach it to an email and send them out.
Oh, we're good. It says that.
Because that happens, especially when, like, if your service isn't great in school, like my service isn't always good here.
When my teachers got mad at me because my Canvas wasn't working, so I emailed him. I said, he goes, "That's not how you do it." I go, Calm down, Jamal. Don't
It's a tense time. We're all a little tightly wound at this point. So if you're ready, I wanted to walk through 7 together. At least the beginning of 7. Because once you get what you need, then the rest of it goes the same way. There's a reason that this process is how-to is up there, because it doesn't matter what it looks like. This is always going to work. Now, there is elimination as a second option, and I'm still weighing whether or not I even want to show it to you.
I hate the second.
Elimination, where you have to line them all up and make sure you have opposite. It's a little bit more work.
It confuses me.
The work happens at the beginning rather than at the end. So I don't know. I like substitution every time it works, but sometimes you're trying to get X or Y by itself can be kind of a pain. I don't know. So I'm still on the fence about what I want to do, but for right now, this whole week, substitution. But take a look at 7. And take a look at what we want before we can even get started. If we have y equals or x equals, then we can go. But if you look at the setup for the first and the second equation in number 7, do you have y by itself on one side or x by itself, all by itself on one side?
No.
And so we can't go yet. We can't get started until we have that. And this is kind of the last thing that we looked at on Monday. We really didn't finish this problem, which is really why I wanted to stop and take a second and make sure we got it. So if we don't have what we want, we need to create it. I need to change one of these equations so that it's y equals or x. And the thing that I'm hoping to look for, because if this is my goal, right? Let's say it was y. I want y by itself. I want it to have no number in front, and I want it to be positive.
So you want to look for the positive equation.
If there's one of these equations, and I don't care if it's x equals or y equals, doesn't matter. I want one of these to happen. So if I look back at the top one or the bottom one, what I'm hoping to find is just like a y with no number in front or an x with no number in front, and it's connected by addition.
The first one. Why wouldn't you want it to be subtraction? Because then you would add it to the other.
Because if I looked at this negative y right here and I slid it over to this side, now on the right side,
You can't divide
I still have
x
the
by y.
21. And I'd have to slide the 21 back over.
Yeah, why can't you divide?
No, you can't divide x by y.
So and let me see if I have this correct. You want to take this negative y and move it over, right?
Add it, yeah.
So if I add y to both sides, negative 5x by itself on the left, 21 and y, one has a y, the other one doesn't, so I can't write them, like I can't combine them and make it 21y or 22. Like this is just 21 plus y.
Yeah.
Because
So why
one,
can't you subtract the 21 to the other
you
side?
certainly could, absolutely.
Oh.
But you just took 2 steps to do something that could have taken just one if we picked the easier one.
But wouldn't it be negative if you moved the top one over?
Well, so here's the thing. So that's an option, right? Take a look at that top.
Okay.
The y is already positive on that left-hand side, right? When we're looking at this one.
Oh, so you can move the rest of it
So
over.
don't move the y, move everything else.
Okay, that makes sense.
And because we're just adding and subtracting to move things from one side to the other, I can't take the -4 and the x and break them apart with addition and subtraction, because how are they connected right now? Multiplication and division, and that's much stronger. Addition and subtraction is not going to break the -4x apart from each other. I can take this and move it over. And to move stuff from one side equal sign to the other, you just do the opposite, right? I have -4x, let's add it to both sides. Because what that'll do is it'll cancel them out on the left. The only thing I have left is a positive y, right? The sign in front, the only one that matters. But what about that right side now?
6 negative 4x.
So I've got a 6. And I'm supposed to add 4x to that.
So it's just x.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what do we do with that, right? Like, one's got an x, the 4x has an x attached to it, but the 6 doesn't.
Combine them.
Like, I've got, like, in my hand, I've got 6 apples and I've got 4 oranges. Do I have 10 oranges? No, I've got 6 apples and I've got 4 oranges. Like, I can't count those together if I'm counting different things. So what do you think the best way to write 6 plus 4x is?
10x.
But I can't put them together because that would be 6x plus 4x. But I don't have 6x, right? When we did like 2x minus 3x, right? We could put those together, I could combine those like terms because they both have an x, right? But the issue that we have with this right side now, it's not a bad thing, it's just what we've got. One of them has an x, the other one doesn't. Well, before I can even think about like how to move stuff around, I have to know what to write.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I gotta write this right side. Huh?
So y equals 6 plus 4x.
6 plus 4x, right? The only way for us to try to put these two together is to just write them next to each other. It's exactly how I wrote them vertically. I just write them side by side. That sounds like a fire drill, but we don't know. Here's the deal. You're going to leave your stuff, whatever you'd like. I'm going to lock the door, okay? We're going to walk. We're going to walk out towards the lockers. So go down this hallway towards the lockers, take a right, go down the stairs, and meet me out by the tennis court. I'm right behind you. You guys watch the fire drill video? That's the thing is.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building.
Attention missing. If everyone can please exit the building at this time. Again, everyone please exit the building at this time.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave the building by the nearest exit or exit stairway. Do not use the elevators. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There has been a fire emergency reported in the building. You are to leave.
There you go. Question me again.
Okay. I'm gonna take my sweet time right
I'm
now.
gonna take these keys. I'm and us.
4, 9, and 11 tomorrow.
4, 9,
I'll put it on
11. Man.
Okay.
Stop. 4, 9. I'll put it on canvas. Homework 1.6B.
Hey.
4, 9.
Shut up.
This has been recording the whole time.
People are probably on there like, what?
Students,
I don't think anybody actually
your
will.
7th period class to collect your belongings and
No.
then proceed to period 8.